call it, larky today, Mike. Just to let you know, it's gonna be like as if I'm high. So I just want to let you know.
You're feeling the vibes. Super
Yeah,
powerful.
I'm feeling it. Yep. Yep.
That's what's up. Well, welcome to episode 3 of Celestial Channel Chat. This is the Peace Dealer. Happy new moon, everybody. I think it's awesome we even get to do this on a new moon. Very well timed. And thank you for joining me, Sharon. Much appreciated.
Well, thank you for having me, Mike and beautiful tribe.
Well, this is our 3rd episode. So far, 2 episodes in.
Yes.
Everyone has been quite pleased with the knowledge you've been blessing us with. I hope, disclaimer, everyone, she said she's going to drop bombs this episode. And
Not literal bombs in case anybody's listening.
So get ready, because
Get ready indeed.
the resurrection of the divine masculine and feminine. When you told me you wanted to talk about that, inside my spirit, I was like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I know. And you know what's funny is that whatever I wanted or felt that I was going to talk about back then, that's nothing compared to today.
Oh, no.
Oh, exactly. It's like there's so much things shifting and pushing and changing, and oh my goodness, I tell you.
I will say personally, the way I felt back then is nothing like how I feel now. Like now I feel 100% surrendered to the divine, whereas before I was almost there, but I was still getting caught up in old patterns. So
I know.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm very observant of everything. Okay, so no judgment.
It's true. It's very true.
No, I mean, because there's other divine masculine that I come into contact with, and I you know, it's like me. I assimilate that data so fast. I'm like, you know. So I'm very well in awareness of it. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just grateful to see this change. I feel more, and I feel personally more excited to take everything I've integrated now and you know, share it and apply it now, which I feel that every man this divine masculine vibration has finally gone off of processing feelings of unworthiness, processing, whether it's worth it to be vulnerable and open the heart.
Yes.
And now finally, I love that you decided to call it resurrection, because it is a resurrection. It's like it's really being reborn.
Yeah. And what's interesting is about 2 hours earlier, because you know how spirit just has everything just synchronizing on point, one after the other. So I went to my local mall and I just went to just get something from Staples. And as I opened the door, this guy ran up to me and he opened the door for me and he looks back at me, Mike, and he says, "Just let them know that chivalry is not dead." So I was like, "Excuse me, what did you say?" He said, "Just let them know." So who do you think he's talking about? Who them is? See? And I was like, wow. At that moment, I was like, I knew that was definitely divine. And it was meant to be for me to hear that. So I said to him, I said, "I'm aware of that." I told him, I said, "I'm very well aware of that." And it's just very important for those who carry more of the divine feminine frequency, that just remember to be in your power and still have compassion for yourself and the divine masculine, because even if they come at you and it seems like they're going back and forth, because that's what was happening for the past several weeks. They were like, "Yes, I'm in this love space. No, I'm going to go back to how I feel and think with how I choose to to look at things." And I was noticing it. And And so again, it has to do with having compassion, because it can be quite intense and it's different. We're like really in uncharted territory. And because when it's like you, Mike, and some others that I know, it's like you're kind of like alone in a way with it, because when you might be shifting to another level with it, and then maybe one of your friends are not, and then they might look at you and say, "Oh, who do you think you are, man? You're not being who you're supposed to be." You know what I'm saying? And so it still has to be with how you're feeling in your heart, and staying really truly connected to the feminine energy, because the feminine energy is very strong on the earth right now. It's like I've been getting just constant messages within the past 24 hours. My higher self is like in even more. So you're meeting another Sharon you met the last time. It's like that's how I feel, like spacey. It's like I'm in two different dimensions, not separately. It's together now because of how much is converging, you know?
And
Yeah.
I feel you 100% on the flipping back and forth. Like
Yes.
I'll feel the connection, and then once I have established that I feel the connection, I'm now just like, no, I need to draw back from this. And
Mm-hmm.
it's happened so much to be aware of the pattern. Uh, Definitely just kind of having me question more. So I actually feel a hardening of my heart more every time it happens, but
Yes.
I can tell it's just coming for like an impending resurrection, where just the vision that I've had for so long is that
Mm-hmm.
like the divine feminine carries this leonine essence in order
Mm-hmm.
to war with that part of the masculine that almost subdues it. And that kind of draws into how a lot of men don't want to be subdued. A lot of men don't really
Yeah,
want.
I know. Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's
Yep.
so it's just such a. I don't even think it's uncomfortable. It's just very. The reason why I say it like so is like at an intellectual level and logically, I've accepted that. I feel like yeah, it's something that's going to be positive, but to feel it instinctually, where it's like parts of you weren't aware of start to react. um
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely cool to see shift now, and that's borrowing on what you said earlier. Like my willingness to do so before is totally different than now, and I'm really excited to experience this enriching feminine vibration,
Mm-hmm.
balanced with this masculine essence, or masculine feminine essence balanced with this masculine vibration. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say on
Yeah.
top of that though, this is I really do feel now, especially once Venus goes into Taurus, shout out to Esco, like we're gonna see this manifest for real, for real, for real.
Yeah,
Even in
it is.
existence.
It is beginning to manifest. I can tell you that for sure, because in my own physical reality, I'm seeing like transformation with my father, transformation with a male cousin who's older than me, and he would always be kind of like, don't even want to listen to certain things that I say, and it's like he was on the phone with me for quite a while talking, and my dad is doing things differently. Like I'm really surprised, like wow, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really literally my own son. It's like a lot of transformation and it's a lot of surrendering, and like I said, it's like it's gonna be different for for each person, but you definitely can tell with how you're being responded to with that energy, and how it comes together both in the masculine and feminine aspect, because it's really like we're really truly integrating both at the same time and honoring both sides. And that it's like what I've been experiencing like for the past several days is where I'm all of this feeling so good one day and the next day crappy, feel so really bad, or just feel like I don't want to be bothered with certain things, or certain things not working out, and so on and so forth, and tired and feeling weird. Like I was feeling really, really weird the day before yesterday. And then yesterday I was feeling really like everything was just like manifesting in my space, like quick, quick, quick. And then today it felt like weird, just very weird. It was up and down. So all of that has to do with what is integrating on the polarities. because from what they keep showing me is that Mother Earth really is connecting more of her soul body with the physical body. That makes sense. Like the physical earth and the soul. Like when I said before when I said you have the cosmic mother and you have the earth mother. Well, it's like truly integrating more. So we're feeling it too, and we're going through the same thing, but it's different. It's not like before. This is like a different way of how things are happening around us, and also how we look at it too at the same time. Mm-hmm.
I love
Yep.
how you brought the celestial mother and the earth mother into play, because that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely allowing us to look at different perspectives of seeing the bigger picture finally ground into realistic concepts we can chew and bite and utilize. What I love about this is the level of like self-esteem and confidence that you're seeing people now take to relationships, where Chiron was in Pisces and we needed to nurse our wounds, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to now where you can feel vibrationally and physically negativity coming your way, and it doesn't deter you. It's not really going to stop you. In fact, you're building a resistance against it.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, before you actually battle with it, which is going to be amazing. But yeah, what do you feel about the what do you feel about the current trends that are going to help people get together as as partners start to pair more authentically? What do you feel are like pressing themes and or what's really happening right now as far as social concepts? I'm sorry, the question's really vague, but
Uh,
really
s-
just
yeah, kind of break it down to me, like one at a time, maybe, so I can kind of, because like I'm getting all kind of information coming in all at once.
relationship dynamics,
The
really.
relationship dynamic. So you mean like what's happening now with what's
How
changing?
this is what I meant to ask, actually. It came to me now. It's like, what are the relationship dynamics that are shifting now that the feminine and masculine are resurrecting?
Okay. Well, what I know definitely is shifting, or what was shown to me based on a dream that I have, just in case if anyone doesn't know who I am, because Mike forgot to introduce me. Sharon
Oh,
Andrea. I'm a spiritual empathic reader. I'm on a twin flame path, and I'm also doing an audiobook called The Return of the Garden of Eden. And so I channel a lot of messages and I get a lot of dreams and everything like that. And when I do readings, I also gather up a lot of data of what's happening in the collective consciousness. So I just wanted to introduce, in case this is the first time that you're seeing me. Well, one of the things that was shown to me, which maybe some of you have too as well, was what was like moving away in terms of the darker aspect of the feminine, especially. And I've been seeing, which I always do see a lot of Eve on license plates. And what that is that the darker aspect of the feminine is what the divine masculine has been used to for centuries. And when I say used to for centuries, as far as those karmic relationships, and those karmic relationships are continuously coming to an end, continuously pulling, apart. And with that in mind, the veil is even thinner. So some of them are having difficulty in choosing or deciding to leave certain relationships or certain karmic patterns because of what they're used to. And it's because of how much more they're coming into their greater power. And they already know who they are connected to as far as their divine feminine. And so a part of them are feeling guilty by not wanting to leave some of these karmic relationships. And it could be even relationships that are around surrounding, their parents as well. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a love relationship. It could even be where they work, where they live. It could be habits, as far as drinking habits or drug habits. It could be anything that's karmic that they're not willing to let go of. Okay. So because of what's happening to do with this, it seems like a back and forth, or 1 minute they're one way, next minute they're another way. It's like it's like the earth, like there's divine intervention that's stepped in, okay? Greater divine intervention has stepped in. And because of this divine intervention that's stepping in, if some of them are not making their decisions to leave some of these karmic relationships, this divine intervention is pushing out the karmic energy or something that's happening in their physical world that's bringing on more pain and more feelings of what do you call it, as if things are not working out and all that stuff. Mike, why are you so happy? You have to tell me. you, you, you have me so curious. You have me so curious now. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even concentrate because I'm looking at you. Oh my goodness.
Hi.
I got a special guest from Australia.
Hi everyone.
Oh,
we got Miss Kiki in the
oh, is that Miss Kiki? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a surprise. Oh my God. Oh wow.
What a surprise.
Yes. What a surprise. Yes, that is a surprise. It just threw me off.
Yeah.
Oh my
situation. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm supposed
in the chat.
Say it again.
I said hi, Soul Fam in the chat.
Oh, wow.
We got air signs. This is a grand air chime. Gemini Libra.
Wow. Definitely.
Channel chat is taking place.
Sure. Yeah. Happy new moon.
Yes, you too.
Yes. Another thing too that's happening too with some of the divine feminine, I had to just bring this up, is that some of you have been having pain in your uterus as well and cramping and changes with your moon cycle. So just know that this is also happening with Mother Earth and why you're also experiencing it because of these huge portal shifts that are happening. So I just want to let you know that. So see, Miss Kiki, you had that information come out of me that I didn't want to forget.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh my. Wow, this is awesome.
We got the air trine.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Your solar. Oh, someone says their solar plexus is on fire. Wow. Yeah, it's really, really, really intense with these new moon energies. Absolutely. Woo, I'm already starting to feel something just with Miss Kiki coming on board.
There we go. I was waiting for that. There we go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but we're really bringing on a lot of magic, a lot of magic. And one of the things I did want to talk about, and I didn't want to kind of what do you call it? If no one didn't see the movie as yet, is the discussion of the Endgame, Avengers, Endgame. We are at this point of what's coming to an end. It's no coincidence that the Endgame is the end of that cycle, right, of Marvel, and then Star Wars is also coming to that cycle in December. So it's no coincidence, with all of that. And I had so many messages that were flowing through me, and I saw it 3 times. No coincidence that someone sent it to me in a video this morning, and I actually literally watched it again. And I still got more messages. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And a part of it has to do with the timelines, the quantum shifts, the resurrection of the divine masculine. That's right. Smoke it out over here. And
It was supposed to be low key, but it's all good. We ain't hiding. It's all good.
It's all good. Oh wow. Oh my goodness.
I saw Endgame like 2 nights ago. So.
You saw it?
Yeah, it was
yeah, and the funny thing is when I saw it the first time, it was nothing compared to the second time. You see? Because there was things that I missed from the first time and then seen it the second time. And I can tell you this, maybe it's not a bombshell, but guess what? We are the Avengers. We are the Avengers. And so the pairs, especially the twin soul pairs, we are the Avengers that have come to bring on all of the elements of ourselves together with all that power. And that's what's bringing in the age of Aquarius. So, Thanos represent the old Piscean age, that Capricorn energy. And we're the ones that are bringing in that new energy, the new age, and what's coming into this physical reality right now, especially with Uranus. Oh, and Uranus and Taurus doesn't play. When you spoke, I think you said something, Mike. She said something happened with you also, besides the cockroach. But my beast just turned on by itself. All these different things was happening. Huh?
The paranormal activity.
The paranormal activities happened again. We were talking about your fan. I remember when you had discussed that with me, and I've been having like my phone just doing whatever it wants to do, no matter what I'm typing. So I just know that there's a lot of frequency that's transferring between and with a lot of us. I will tell you that.
I forgot to let the rest of y'all know the cockroach is dead. It showed up out of nowhere, dying. So I took that from spirit as we got you, fam. So
ding dong, the witch is dead. You see the like I said, the parts of the elements of the darkness that has existed is dying. It's just literally dying, coming to an end. And what's interesting is that when we are coming into the new frequency, it means that something has to die. Something always has to die. Something always is sacrificed, and so what we're sacrificing, it happened in the movie, exactly, with the soul stone. The soul stone represent the sacrifice. Yeah.
And then I was going to say, whereas Thor is like Leo, Sagittarius, what I loved about that movie is Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers is the finest representation of Aquarius that I've seen, like Capricorn Aquarius, like being the one that has to see what's happening in other worlds where we're so focused on this one. And
exactly. Yeah. Because she did say that. She says, that I have other universes that I have to tend to.
It's like, it's not you guys. Like
exactly. And it's so funny that you said that, because I saw myself as Captain Marvel. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to fly. I just like looking forward to this shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's the beautiful thing about her. It's like the powers were never given to her. She didn't know she had them since birth. They just got like activated. Like
yes.
From a dormant state. And my favorite line in that movie was when the raccoon was telling I can't really just call him the raccoon, when he was telling Iron Man, you're only a genius on Earth. And Iron Man,
yes.
He was like, whatever. But
whatever. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was really, really interesting. And you see how even the Hulk integrated his angry self and his peaceful self. You see that? Yeah. It's a lot of integrating type of things showing that. And then with Thor, he still earned, I forgot the word that he used. He said that he still earned the other hammer that he got back. Yeah. And then Captain America also, together, they were able to bring their powers together. Do you see that? So everything that was showing in that movie is especially what's coming together. Also, when bear with me with the names, with Doctor Strange, every time he was opening up, it was a portal. That's what we're doing. We're opening up all these portals on Earth, and that's what they kept showing to me is what's happening, especially during the course of this year. Because I can tell you this, that the greater energy of 2020 is already open. We're already in 2020. Some of us are already tapping into that timeline, and it's happening like on such a quantum level, with all of this. And I had a dream. My mother, it wasn't even a dream, it was actually happening. Even my mother's ascendant. I know some of you heard me talk about my mom on the other side. She came to me in a dream, and she was like coming across like the oracle, just like in the Matrix. And I saw these butterflies that were so big. They were really huge. And the caterpillar part of the butterfly was green, like a lime green color. And then the wings was like a lavender color. So I knew I was in these, another higher dimension. So when I look at the butterfly and the caterpillar, my mother said, look, do you see it over here? Do you see it over there? I knew that it represented me. And when we talk about dying and resurrecting, is that before you would die out of your physical body, then you go through that life review and all that stuff. And then you look at, okay, I'm going to come back down again and again. So this is like, we're ending those cycles as well of how we're dying. Okay.
even to bring Endgame back, because there was just so many tropes in Endgame that were so like phenomenal. If you consider like every male central role, you saw his fall. You saw Thor become like a loser and like really lose himself, rather.
Yes.
You saw Hawkeye completely turn into an evil person or a dark.
Yes.
You saw
Yes.
Tony Stark, like Tony Stark finally found you with a baby, but just, you know, and then Captain America having to deal with not being able to let go. And then you see every central feminine role rise up.
Rise up.
Power.
Yes.
The
Yes.
most iconic scene was with Spider-Man having to get, like, Spider-Man had to transfer the artifact for them to win the war, and it's all the central female roles actually protected. I thought that was interesting. Like, was all the main woman protecting a young man in order to pass it to Captain Marvel, which was another woman who did what Thor couldn't. So, you know, I thought that was really
yes. But here's the, you know, funny that you bring that up too, because my son, they keep arguing over this. Do you feel that Thanos defeated Captain Marvel or not when he threw her across? Do you remember that part in the movie?
Oh, okay. Like, is Thanos stronger than Captain Marvel?
Right.
Well, so the thing was with Hollywood movies, they don't always go canon to the comic books. Comic books are the source because they were written by based off of that. So if we're going canonically, Thor is stronger than Captain Marvel, and then Thanos as an Eternal is a little bit stronger than everybody. But Captain Marvel has the potential, especially as binary, to give Thanos a run for his money, which was why she wanted all the smoke. She was like, I'm just gonna go kill Thanos. But honestly, based on the movie, Captain Marvel is stronger because Captain Marvel was going to pull the stuff out, and Thanos needed the Power Stone to push her off. If he didn't have the gauntlet, Captain Marvel is actually stronger than Thanos.
Yes.
He had those.
So it shows how what brings that balance of masculine energy is always the feminine energy, the feminine principle. Why, when it's missing, you know, when it has been missing and dormant, like the true divine feminine has been missing and dormant, that everything that went to the other side with all the fear, the dogma, the control, the power, all of that stuff, is what is, they show me in another dream, like it's just like being buried or like put to sleep or put to rest. Because, you know, all of us have all sides, you know, we represent both sides.
Yeah.
So it's whether or not you choose to activate that dark part of yourself or the light part, you know what I'm saying? Or the light part of yourself. And so as you are coming into a more conscious awareness of all the parts of yourself that has been fragmented and bringing it into that whole place, you know, from healing from all the wounds of the past. Because what I thought was very interesting, because even what you mentioned, I didn't even realize that what you spoke about, what you analyzed a while ago, because I realized how they went back into the past, right, to recover the stones. And the date they picked, the year they picked was 2012. How interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
Very interesting, because that was the year.
Huh? Where for like 3 of them, where they intersected and like met with each other.
Yes. And it had me thinking what was happening with me in 2012. Then they went to 2014. You see what I'm saying? 2014 is when I connected to my twin, and 2012, I don't remember, but I was like I was still in my spiritual place, but not in any awareness of being on, you know, that path. But how interesting that we still went to that point of 2012, and now 2019 is the year that it all comes to an end, with all that rain of energy and stuff that has still been on earth that we had to keep transmuting, you know, through all of it. How ironic that Avengers Endgame, the man who produced it, Stan Lee, was it this year he passed away, or was it last year?
That gave me chills. Like, he
isn't it? Yes, that he passed away. Yeah, and then Star Wars, that is the end of that thing as well, and it comes out in December, which is the number 12 month. And Carrie, she passed away also. That was the last time she shot a scene in that. So I noticed that and I was like, wow. You see what I'm saying?
And like, to borrow on what you were saying, like all the creators of these series that we still use for decades, they're
Yes.
dead. They're long since old. And it's like,
Yes.
if there's a whole new phase to the Marvel series, so they're gonna keep going, but like
Yes.
there's at some point gonna come a whole new pantheon, a whole new generation of heroes or non-fictional entities or ideas and concepts that we push on for decades. And I think it's us that's gonna create that, you know?
Exactly. And that's what is significant about the changes with how we interrelate with each other as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's no coincidence.
To add on to that, because what I wanted to ask you was, with the resurrection of like this divine sacred energy within us, I get the sense that the keys and the codes are in our DNA.
Yes.
And it's within us, and that's just like in humans. It's just like mutants in X-Men. They had a mutant gene that had to have been activated. You know, it's like through the sacred love and union, we're gonna activate dormant energy that really will open us up to, you know, kind of like a Sense8 thing.
Yes. Exactly. And the thing is that we're doing more things differently in the physical body, whereas others may not. Others may ascend out of their body, but and most of us who choose, of course, are doing it in the physical bodies, and these are a part of the keys to this immortality. You know what I mean? And the greater balance that's happening between, with all of us. So it is very powerful, and it does involve staying present and what's in the future. Because you remember too, another key significant part in the movie is when the Hulk was talking about when he was trying to recreate the time machine, and he was talking about what was in the past, and they were thinking about what could affect the future. But it's like we're really living in all of it at the same time, simultaneously, and in other dimensions at the same time. Do you see how much stuff is going? It's like, I was like, oh my goodness. That's why you might be feeling sort of out of sorts, because it's like a part of you is living like when Ant-Man went in the time machine and he was the baby, then he was himself, then he was the old man again, then he went back to, you see what I'm saying? That's sort of like what is happening right now. We're in our own time machine, and we're in these energy, and we're recreating different dimensional space of what we are experiencing, so we can be in that greater magic. Because when I saw how I was experiencing all this magic on Friday, and then Thursday wasn't like that, and it's like there's that physical thing, and then Friday was all this magic. It was effortless. I didn't have to do that much, and all this magical stuff was happening. And then the next day was the opposite, like was drudgery and dragging along, and you know what I mean? And all the effects that was happening to the body. So even the body is going through these changes as we're going in the past and in the present, and also what's coming into it's like it's speeding up. And I saw 555 like 7 times today, kid you not. 7 times today. So that is how much things have been just speeding up and changing. And then me dreaming about the butterfly transformation. But the difference is that in the dream, what was shown to me, what Spirit wanted me to mention, is that the caterpillar didn't die. The caterpillar still lived and still became the butterfly while remaining as a caterpillar. And the caterpillar is a representation of the physical body, that we're integrating with the spirit body. And that's what creates Hieros Gamos. That's what we're moving towards, a greater Hieros Gamos, the spiritual body and the physical body integrated. So I wanted to make mention of that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think what he said exactly was, if you go to the past from the future, then that becomes your new future, and the present now becomes your past, which was just a huge mind F. But totally do believe, because like everything does happen at once. Time can't really just be linear. If experiencing an ever present now, that where we mark growth of you know, whatever is lapsing and structuring and whatnot. But I'm just really, 5 does represent change, like you and Miss Sophia said, and I'm just really excited. It's kind of like feeling I've used this analogy a lot, like the roller coaster coming up and you're going down the ride. Well, we've been through several rides, but it's like the earth under our feet is giddy with excitement for this change too. And I hate to just be talking about change because that's the only thing that's constant, right? But I would say in context, like we're seeing a real change.
We're actually seeing it. When you mentioned the up and down, it reminds me of Nitro from Six Flags. It's like trying to catch yourself when you go back down and then you go back up again. And you're like, oh, you know, like that. That's the best way I could describe it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So it's really happening. Like now where we're actually seeing it, you know what I mean? And just know that sometimes while you're shifting in these higher frequencies, you're going to bring in the cockroaches, you're going to bring in the pestilences, you're going to bring in the ones who are even more, you know, like they want to come against you, you know what I'm saying? Or you might be at a point where you're just cutting off more people, or you're just not being connected to other people anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's also what is going to happen. It's going to be like as if you're repelling also those who are not aligning with your frequency as well. You see? So that is also happening because every time they show me this power that is coming in with the connection of the twin pairs, and it's like it's creating a new event on Earth. It's like really like we are the ships that's landed, you know, and we're opening up all these dimensions and portals. And just that this time it's not taking in all the other stuff that we don't need any longer. And that's why it's important to keep healing through all your pain and your, you know, or any of the programming that you have still within you. You know, and that's why I know sometimes most people say, well, this keeps repeating and over again, because at the moment you're experiencing it, it's at that time or that in that frequency that you change or shift something with your thoughts, and then it keeps on pushing itself away until you eventually don't have, you know, that experience again. And that's what brings you closer to that 0 point, you know, where you feel that inner peace. You know what I mean? That's what it does.
And on the topic of resurrection, once again, like the whole union between the masculine and feminine is a herogamy. So it's like you're tapping into God consciousness through it's like we see it in our perspective as like man, woman, and then we connect and we bring in this more godly presence. But from their perspective, it's all like a trinity, it's all one. And this is what's bringing into the archetypes of, you know, God and goddess pairs, the Isises and the Osirises, the Mars and Venus. Your people are starting to see these archetypes play through them. And if we think about those archetypes, they were based off of ancient Greco-Roman and Egyptian understandings, which does not apply now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, we're having to redefine how to own up to this godly energy. And I hate to say godly because I feel it's just celestial. You know, it's just like we're changing the wording on that and what it means.
Yes. And like it's like really embodying the Christ, you know. And they showed me too, like these movies are the new clues, like how you have Blue's Clues. These are the new clues to where we are to, you know, to pay attention. All the other stuff, like the scriptures, the Bible is, you know, it's okay because it's kind of like it opens the door a little bit to what is happening, right? But it's not the entire, I would say, message of what's happening in this present time. You see what I'm saying? It's different. And it's to pay attention to what is being shown presently, to where you're being guided to because a lot of things that are happening too is where you're kind of saying, what do I do next? And it feels different while you're in this body. And it's like you're in this unknown zone. And it's like we're stepping into actually a truly magical reality that has not been experienced before or seen before in the physical body. You see?
and
Mm-hmm.
and really doing what it is you can to stay unique through the process, because just like we can get these clues, these same clues could be used to deceive, and it's through these outlets of like Hollywood and other such media um, channels that messages could be used to promote a certain thought that not everyone has, and then you have certain groups that are segmented, and
Yeah.
bringing that shard of your unique self to these relationships are definitely going to make the difference. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's
Well, when that happens too, Mike, that's why we go into separation from people, so that way you get to integrate what's coming through from with your own inner knowledge. Because keeping track of your own inner knowledge is very, very important. Because the minute you feel like something doesn't feel right, that's when you know it's time to get out of Dodge and to connect to source, to what feels like it feels right for you at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because things are constantly interchanging, and that way you can get to filter what is coming in as the best for you. Because once you build up that part of yourself, like building up an immune system, it's like you're building up an energy within you and outside of you so that nothing can penetrate you any longer. That's where I'm at. Because it's like at some point you just reach that stage where the bullshit just can't come. It's like it just doesn't even come your way. It bounces away. And you realize it because you can feel it. You know what I mean? That's what it's like. That's what it's like. But in the meantime, there's some who are awakening now, and they're feeling the triggers that are coming from people, or they're looking at people like they're lepers, or something doesn't feel right, or it feels uncomfortable, or they're seeing them differently. And that's all a part of your awakening process. It's a part of it. And it's to just allow yourself to keep moving through it and navigating through it until it starts to come into a balance for you. Then it might repeat again through another person. You see what I'm saying? And then it's like it just works its way through those stages, because that's what I went through when I sometimes somebody else like, oh my God, I was like, I felt like I wanted to kill somebody, and I felt like somebody was after me, and I was like, oh, do you see, I literally saw a car where the eyes looked like it was coming after me, and I realized it was all these things from the past, and that's why we're filtering through that. In the meantime, there's some of us that are creating the greater grid for those who are coming together in their union space, so that way now it's easier for them to how would I say, to get there, and it's not as challenging as like what many of us have had to go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the challenge has definitely been great, especially kind of sparking people to connect in different age groups and
Yes.
see
Yeah.
different possibilities that way.
Mhm.
If,
Mhm.
if anything, though, with Venus that's in Aries, that's riding a whole new relationship archetype. And it was people being gender sensitive now. It's like who your identity entering into these partnerships is everything, and being able to hold integrity to that. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yep, me too. Me too. You know, especially when it comes to these marriages that have been created on Earth, like the man-made marriages. There are people that still don't realize that there's a frequency that has come with that from a long time ago. And if it's not holding in a space of integrity, or if it has to do with control, or um, anything that's connected to government, all of these things is what's breaking down. And many of us that's what we're doing, is we're breaking it down and breaking it down. And there's a reason why it has to break down, because it has to leave, it has to go. And even to what they showed to me is that there are more people who are physically dying, and they have to go because there's something that must be sacrificed. There's something that must die in order for us to live, right? And the true living, the true embodiment of this Christ energy, the true embodiment of yourself, right? In the, like, all the elements of self, all the parts of self that had fallen apart and broken apart and fragmented. It's like now it's like we're bringing it together, and that means that something must be released. Even what they wrote in scriptures, remember, they sacrifice lambs, they sacrifice sometimes people, they sacrifice this and that. But in this case, it's like this has to do with really truly letting go of the past in what no longer serves you, including all the structures of everything that have been created before, like contracts and all these things. You see what I'm saying? We're going to bartering. The new earth, how I see it, the colors are so beautiful and bright and golden. And this is what I'm talking about. So, you know, because I see the greater picture with this, and even how we interrelate with each other. Like I said to this someone that I read for early this week, she's in the divine feminine principle, and she said that there's a lot more males that are attracted to her. So I told her, I said, well, what it means is that when you are rising into this true divine feminine power, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's enticing, it's sensual, it's sexual, it's all of this. That's what keeps us alive, that energy. So because it had been dumbed down and distorted, and also, no, don't do that, you know, especially when, you know, in a female body, say, oh, don't wear that, don't look like that, don't be like that. Just all of the you know, some of the religion, the religious structures to disintegrate the feminine, the true feminine energy. Because you see, as we give rise to her, she is rising, she's risen, and you give rise to yourself. For this is part of what, how you're resurrecting yourself, is connecting to this feminine energy that had been buried or dormant and told that's not how you should be, this is not how you should look, and you know, da 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 da. The distortions of sex, sexual energy, distortions surrounding the vagina and the penis, and what it really means when it comes together, and the power that comes with it, and how it integrates and connect to source. Yes, another time, Mike, we will do sacred sexual talk.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's definitely
yeah,
coming.
yeah, oh yeah. It's that's where power comes in with that.
Yeah,
that's where a lot of power comes in with that. Okay.
So R&B is coming back. That's for damn sure. I had a vision with what you were saying before. When you said man-made structures, it just totally hit me. Like when people get married, it's usually like an ordained minister that's like uniting together. And it's the vision that I got is, it's actually, wouldn't it make more sense if you're being married by someone in a union? So it's like a man and a woman, or two partners that are ordaining it, instead of just like one singular person ordaining the union? Or is that just extra?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, the traditional marriage is man-made and is based on, I call it economics. What one can do for the other and what the other one can do for the other. It's not based on true love. What is true love? You know what I'm saying? And it's based on conditions also. You know, we'll have sex every day because we're married, so we can have kids. And then I can work 2 jobs so I can bring home the money, the bacon, and she stays home and have all that. I talk about all this in the book. And then the cycle just regurgitates and goes on and on and on. And then the dysfunction starts, you know what I mean? And the disconnect continues. And then the arranged marriages, remember, they have in different countries, they have the dowry, you know, where this one endows 25 cows or whatever. And, you know, it's all these things, and they get married to it because there's 2 alliances of countries, you know, and a lot of you embody those old energies into thinking, you know, or even the pressure that people put themselves through, that they have to be married, or they have to have a child, or you have to have have children after the marriage. Like if someone's married and they don't have children, it's like, oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's deeply rooted in the subconsciousness, you see, and a lot of it is society. Yeah. And save up your money, or even going to college. Oh, you got to go to college. You got everything. You gotta constant structures and what do you call it?
They all get reinforced on each other. Taboos or stigmas, but they all get reinforced. It's like, even if you want to do something different, you have to do it in order to make it in the parts. Yes. We're seeing this bust we're seeing like avenues that are created so that they're not necessarily mandatory, and you're able to like
exactly. And whenever anybody asks me, from readings, oh, am I going to get married? But it's like, well, what I see is a spiritual ceremony. It's like I see more spiritual ceremonies taking place where you're really connecting from the heart, and you really it's like you complement each other, not where one is looking for something from the other person in how they come together, because usually it starts from people looking at the outside first and not connecting from within first. You see what I'm saying? So the structures of marriages, the structures of money, when I say structures of money, the value, the view of money, the value that's placed on money, that, some most people have been programmed into thinking that the only way to attain things is through money, not realizing that there's magic within you to create things that is without money as well. You see what I'm saying?
I truly believe that people on an unconscious, subconscious level engage in like spiritual marriages all the time and don't even know it. Like someone can get with another zodiac sign to probably go out for coffee, but they didn't realize they did it at a certain transit, and like at an unconscious level they unified and at the same, and that's just an extreme example, but yes. Really coming, even though your mind might want someone because of ego-based reasons, your soul is constantly leading you to who you're really meant to be with and what you're really meant
right to. And it's not where you're I mean, come on, let's face it, almost there's so many shows. I don't know if anyone knows the show Married with Children, I think it was. What's his name? I mean, it was one of the most hilarious shows back in that time, and still it was about him complaining about his marriage. Like he felt stuck. Like most of the time, the males, and those in the masculine energy run from relationships because it makes them feel like they're in bondage. Okay, the feminine, the females have felt like they're in bondage also. Yeah, Al Bundy, right? They feel like as if they're in bondage also because they're stuck with the kids or they can't be in their freedom. And a lot of times the females, they develop illnesses and stuff in the body because of the emotional stuff that they keep inside. And then everything just continues to break down. And that's why it's different what we're creating. It's different. What we're creating is different with how things are going to be when it comes to divine connections, divine families. One unit together, where you have villages where everyone raises the children. So there's not too much pressure on one person or one family, and things interchange. There's also the true honeymoon that's coming. Did you know that the honeymoon that was really created, I mean, they incorporated it into marriage, but it has to do with the time that you're able to do and be a part of the true divine worship. What do you think the true divine worship is, Mike? What do you think the true divine worship is, Miss Kiki?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm asking you. I would love to hear from anyone. Tell me what you feel the true divine worship is, because I'm going to drop a bomb today.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay. I was thinking more the hierogamos again. It's like you and someone else have a third shared energy, and you may worship through devotion to be consistent to that, because it's not just about you, and it's not just about them, and it's like you feed that relationship and energy, and it feeds you back.
Yes, the receiving and giving, and you said it just, yes, that's exactly what it is, and it involves the true divine sacred sexual union, the physical sexual union between, they put it some cases man and woman, but it involves, it's not gender specific only, but it is still about what comes together as one in unity. And that energy itself is so sacred. It's extremely sacred. It's not anything to say, oh, it's downgraded and it doesn't really matter. And so when I think of a physical marriage, it is nothing compared to what hierogamos is. Nothing compared to it. Because imagine now you're having an inner union and you're having a physical union at the same time. And that brings on greater power. And that greater power is what creates the new earth. And that new earth is what is representing the changes and how we're connecting to the outer planets and the wisdom that's going to flow with all of us, with nothing that we need, but just this love that brings on more of this energy and more of everything that's looking more beautiful before us. There's no stigma placed on the body. There's no stigma placed on the color of skin. There's no stigma placed on what someone has, you know, financially, or where they're located, and all these things that just get in the way. You know what I mean? And so these unions that are coming into place that involve, or it's bringing on this Hyros Gamos, and it's bringing on this honeymoon stage, this honeymoon phase. It had been shown to me that this honeymoon phase is coming at some point. I don't know when, but I know it's going to be in the 20 something, 20, between either 2020 or 2022, by the time majority of these twin pairs are in physical union. And it's creating another energy and influx of data that's going to be flowing. Because if any of you have had this sacred sexual love with your divine, your beloved, you get a lot more downloads. You get, I mean, downloads galore. It just comes and comes. It's like nonstop. And so it's like you're like lighting up like a light bulb with this. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like this, the frequency of what's coming in, and it's just that individual part of the self, when it comes with the other parts of self, and then also the pairs represent another frequency together in 12s and 12 and 12. So, but we may not know who represents what aspect of it, but it's still coming in the increments of what creates that greater sacred geometry. Okay. And the honeymoon phase lasts for more than 2 weeks. It's like about 30 days. That's why they have the calendar created with the 30 and the 31 days. And that's why different cycles that come in with the females and what comes together with, which that's another topic for another time. But all of that is what is important. And that's why one of the things that Spirit is having me to emphasize on, when I say Spirit, because I know when people say, who's Spirit? This is coming from the Holy Spirit. This is coming from Source right now, is that the soulmates relationships is not the same as the twin pairs. All right, I repeat, that energy is not the same with the soulmate than it is with the twin pair, to who you're connected to. And that is one of the things that have been distorted throughout lifetimes, because they didn't want you to remember thyself. They didn't want you to remember the power that comes with this. It is a great honor to be on the planet in this physical body, expressing and connecting to this energy, because it has never been done before, and it is powerful. And it's like you're bringing in the greater God goddess frequency. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and people are not going to really get it fully yet about this until when they start experiencing it for themselves even more, and what it means, and the honor that's placed with it, and what it means to resurrect the parts of yourself that have been fragmented, and what it means to resurrect the parts of yourself that has been overlooked, or even if it means, again, that you're turning away from family, friends, whoever, leaving your career. This is what it takes. This is what it means. This is what it means. And that sometimes you have to lose in order to win. Mm-hmm.
It took a while for me to like embrace that concept, and it's like you could be so focused on winning that it's the L you take that sets up your victory.
Yes.
And sometimes you need to see how people act when they think they've won, or when they think they have the chips in their favor, because it reveals certain things you wouldn't have. And it reveals how people treat you when they think you're in a losing position. And
yeah,
much so.
Yeah, and they may not necessarily understand all of it, what's happening. So that's why most of the time some people don't want to hear about it, or they don't really fully would grasp it yet, because they're not experiencing it. And then, you know, at some point, it's going to be known. It's not going to be hidden any longer. It's going to be known. Everything is going to be known. Everything is going to continue to be revealed on Earth, to what it means for the planet Earth, and the power that we're all bringing together in unity, that brings on this greater peace for all of us. Because me personally, I'm just ready for the new Earth, and I've been ready long time. You see? And and again, there is no book out there that I know of or anything that tells us exactly how it's going to look, but we're all getting bits and pieces of what it may look like and what it's going to feel like. And it's not scary. It's like you're going to feel this like more peace, that even if anything else around you is chaotic, you're feeling this inner peace that tells you how much closer you are for yourself when it comes to this power. Because sometimes people think that gaining power is because you're fighting for it, but sometimes gaining power sometimes it involves letting go, and it means letting go of a lot of things that sometimes you might feel like you're just empty with everything. You might just, when I say everything, you think about the story of Job when he lost everything again and again and again. And then it's like you're stripped and stripped and stripped, and then you're starting over again. You're starting over again. You see, we're starting over again. That's right.
Some people are very afraid to do that. Yeah. So,
I know they're afraid. Yeah.
uh,
And I mean, we can't blame them because it's like it's uncharted territory again. And it can be scary when you have no idea, because not everyone is shown what may lie in front of them necessarily in each moment. And so it's like really living and being in the moment and staying focused on the signs that are being shown to you by your higher self. Yep. Or sometimes your higher self just does it. You have no time to catch yourself. That's the time. Sometimes that's how it happens. Yep. That's right.
the twin pairs activate each other, go on the mission, and then move on to the next life, next objective. And that can look like a whole myriad of ways. It doesn't have to
Yes.
happen in the context of a marriage or even a friendship. Your twin pair could be your enemy for a few years, but you sharpen each other, and then you eventually, unite. But I don't even know what to say, because it's like what we're stepping into is so different that I'm just happy to be able to experience it all.
Yeah.
Very magically our abilities.
And experience the process, even if we don't like it, or even if it's not what we expected, you know what I mean? And again, it's a constant surrender. And you see, not everyone will get the greater picture now, because it's like each time when you go through another level of ascension, you feel and you get to experience, and then you're like, wow, oh, okay. Not everyone will get excited with you at the same time with it, you know what I mean? And it's because they're not seeing it. But I already had a dream that it's going to be more publicized to do with why we are here. And even if that other person does not over in or understand, they're going to feel it. And because the power is there, that is it's undeniable. It's undeniable. And there's no way that someone in one place and someone else in another place is having the same experience that it's not real, because it is real. It is very real. And we're helping every single one of us to start that new generation and the new cycle of love, the new cycle of what it means to commit to each other and having compassion for one another, being in our own sovereignty and our own freedom. I mean, come on now. We're really desiring freedom. Who wants to be enslaved any longer? You know what I mean? And there's so much stuff that we have been enslaved that some people don't realize how much more programming is running in the background from other programs. You see? Period. So I know. And freeing our ancestors and, all of that stuff. So that's what we're resurrecting. How we're resurrecting ourselves is the letting go and empowering, letting go and then empowering. Each time you release something, then something more is coming in what we're grounding it on earth now. That's why being in the Taurus time frame, and we're in the 555 portal right now, because tomorrow is 5/5. And there's this, and that energy is also shifting, and it's transmuting, and it's elevating all at one time. I said this to I think it was, I don't know who I said it to. I said it's like being in a washing machine, and it's like when you have a stain on your clothes and you got to put stain lifter on it, and you got to put it in and you dry it, and then another time you got to put it in again, and we're going through these constant cycles of purification. So that way, each time we're releasing something, and then we're bringing and embodying another part of another higher part of ourselves, and then we're releasing something else, and so you might end up like totally eradicating an old part of yourself that you just don't have, you just don't experience anymore, or you're not like that person anymore. You know what I mean? And that's what sometimes we have struggles with, because we want to be that same person. We want to be the same way we were before, but we're not. We're not. So yeah, a lot of 555s. Everybody said they've been seeing a lot of 555s. Yep. That's what this represents. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, in closing, is there any final messages you have regarding this, or any action steps we can take with this new cycle?
Well, I definitely would recommend to pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to your dream state even more than ever. You might find yourself not being able to remember some of your dreams, but your dreams are somewhat like bringing you more with the current information to where you are during your ascension process. And also compassion, to have compassion for one another and for yourselves, and honor all your emotions and feelings. And it's like, if you're in a place where you're angry or frustrated, just again, just navigate through it, and go through your own personal type of meditation, because not everyone meditates the same way. So that will also help you to where you are. You might feel like you just want to sleep all day. You might feel like you just can't sleep. You may feel like you want to eat. You may feel like you don't want to eat. Everyone is going through, especially more massive physical changes also, that I can tell you, especially with Taurus represents the physical body. You might find yourself putting on more weight, and this because your body is protecting itself from what's coming in from your higher self. Okay, you might find yourself speaking in ancient languages. You may find yourself, like I said, feeling triggered by more people than ever. You might find yourself not being around nobody at all. So just keep remembering and being mindful of that. Not everyone is on the same level of consciousness. Not everyone is on the same level in the other dimensions. Not everyone is on the same level on their twin soul path. Not everyone is has the same path. Everyone has a different path. So it is important to honor yourself and honor others where they are at the same time. But even if you got to get into the part of yourself that you don't like where you are, so be it. You know what I mean? Just don't forget to come back over to the other side, because that's what brings in that greater balance of self. You know what I mean? That's very, very important. Yeah. So that I would recommend for sure. And if you have not seen Avengers: The Endgame, I recommend you see that too as well. You'll get a lot of messages to do with the ascension time right now and how it applies to your present life.
Hopefully we didn't spoil it for you, but hopefully we didn't spoil it for them. But
hopefully we didn't spoil it for you. And even if you feel like whatever you hear today is not what you wanted to hear, I always recommend come back another time and revisit, because you're gonna always keep revisiting and revisiting. And there's times when we've just been on the surface with things, and it's time to go deeper and deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper into self. There's things to yourself that you may not even have realized until something happens and you're like, oh shit, I really did that. Oh fuck, I really said that. Oh, because it was dormant within you. It's like you're active. It's time to activate that greater DNA that has never been done before, right? And each one of us are going to be doing more things that we've never done before, and you're going to be quite surprised, because you are greater than what you realize. It's like you look at yourself, you look at the physical body. You're more than that physical body. There is a greater you that is always present. And it's for you to recognize yourself with that, beyond even looking in the mirror. Okay. It's like you feel it in your heart and soul. You feel it in your heart and soul. And you're all being activated more and more to being in your hearts, because the feminine energy is really, 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 really templated on the earth right now. You can feel it. You can feel it. So if you find yourself dancing, laughing, singing, be in that magic. Be in that magical space, because that's what makes things happen also, where it's effortless and you're in your freedom, you see, and your joy and blissfulness. Everything that I see in the present with people and stuff. This is not even what the earth is going to be. This is where we're really coming in blissfulness. That's beyond joy, and it's beyond happiness. It really is. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what some of the messages.
Well, no,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
On that note, thank y'all for joining us for another amazing episode. I was gonna say, like you'll know, for those of you who are still unsure whether you're with the right person or not, you'll know because the part of you that you feel uncomfortable sharing with others, or the mask you feel you have to put on to other people, it won't be there. It's like you could be your most authentic self.
Authentic self, yes, that's right.
It's like you don't have to try. Like it just comes out naturally. It's like,
yeah, and it's like when you're with, or when you come across your true love, which is another nicer way of saying it, you feel safe. You feel like you can be yourself. You feel like you've known them for over 1,000, how many lifetimes? Okay, 20. It feels familiar. You feel like you can, like for me, I just gave my address. I was like, oh, I've never done that before. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, because you know within your heart, and it's not where, no matter how much you do to try to ask someone, do you think? It's about you knowing yourself, and how that person mirrors back to you about yourself. You're talking about them, you're talking about yourself. See?
amen.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you feel the next topic for episode 4 should be?
Whew, very good question. We could talk about anything, Mike. I mean, you know, it's like, when it comes to this journey, it's like, oh, it's so much stuff. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I forgot to say that. Oh, I forgot to say that. So maybe we should ask anyone else what they would love for us to talk about.
You can put it in the comments to this video.
Put it in comments because I always said, because there's so much to talk about. And whenever questions are asked to me, it pulls it out, so it's even greater. Mm-hmm. And I can do even channeling at the moment if that's necessary. Or you know, because we never know what we can remember. I prefer to use the word remember more than learn, because I really truly know that we've been here so many times. What is there to learn? It's more to remember ourselves and awaken to ourselves. Out of body traveling. Yeah, I've had out of body traveling too. I've experienced that, is what I'm saying. And you may find yourselves feeling like, where am I? What day is it today? Or you feel really good, and then all of a sudden you feel all sleepy, like, oh, I gotta go to sleep now. All of that. I recommend playing your music as much as you can, dancing as much as you can. Go for walks, hug a tree, walk on the grass. What else? Sea salt baths. If you're not near the sea salt baths is very highly recommended, because especially when you're in contact with other people, you're also pulling in their energies. Be mindful of what you bring into your sacred space right here, your vortex. You see, very, very important. Yeah, and and listen to any or all music, or whatever music that resonates with you at the moment, because you could be in a space of that you don't feel good, or you might be angry or upset or whatever, so you might play some hip hop or trap music. Then you might be in a place where you're feeling like you want to feel in love again, you play some love music. You see, that's how I roll. Change up something around you, change your hair, change your clothes, change something, do something different, do something you've never done before. And you ask your inner child, what is it that you would always love to do? You haven't done it. That's what brings you to that place of creation also, and being creative. So somebody said thugger. Yep. Yeah.
Beautiful thugger girl. My beautiful thugger girl, yes. It's actually his album coming through. But yeah, other than that, thank you once again for joining us. Thank you, Miss Kiki.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Miss Kiki, it was so awesome.
You were talking about sacred sexuality, and she started talking. She was like, "Oh yes."
Yeah, sacred sexuality is very important because that is the highest place to connect to source energy. It's not based on anything physical with reading something or going somewhere. It is connecting through that sacred sexual energy, and that is where we create also from that space through sexual energy. But again, society and all those structures pushes it away. People don't want to talk about it, and the reason why is because they're afraid, and they also are staying in that programming space when it comes to that. You see what I'm saying? And it's distorted. And it's for you also to even be connecting to it. If you've had sexual traumas, it's imperative to keep healing through those traumas and facing all the things that you have dealt with when it comes to sex, or who you may have had contact when it comes to that, or if it had affected you through childhood or your adulthood or whatever. That's very important. Very, very important. So, and it's about connecting from your heart to the sexual organs, and all of your body is going through an orgasmic experience. Okay, all of your entire body. And again, I've said this before because I've had this experience myself, is where we're all going to be in love with each other. Like, we can look at another person and say, I'm in love with you, and then have to look at, like, oh my God, how could you be in love with me? Oh, we're not having a relationship. It's again, this what we have now on the earth is nothing compared to what it's going to be like with us all being in love with each other. You see, and it's not going to be placed with a label. It's not going to be placed with what someone does for you. It has to do with how you're feeling from your heart, where there's no attachment placed on a person or a situation for why you're in love with each other. You see, that's it. And there's power that comes with that. People rather turn to hate and anger and misunderstanding things than to understand and to come back to love and having that compassion with it. See? Yeah.
Amen to
Yeah.
that. So many good notes to leave off on. I love it. So,
I know. I get like, Sharon, she could talk for hours and hours.
oh yeah,
Yes, she can.
yeah.
And of course, I can't leave without playing one song.
Go for it. Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, now this song I'm gonna play, it's actually from my culture. So if anyone doesn't know, I'm from the island of Jamaica. And every time I play the music, it's important to listen to the words, and also, if anything, look up the words because it has meaning to it, right? And how we connect to one another. So when I play it, feel the rhythm, and it takes place back. I think it's back in the either the 60s, I believe, or the 50s. I'm not sure, but I think it was in the 60s or 70s, because this was a time of the era, an era where they called it I think it was ska. Okay, because we had different, just like how we have different genres of music, we have different times, so it's everything we bring together, and how we express love, how we express ourselves in any way and every way, right? In every movie, in almost every story, it started out with what? Paradise, right? Love. And then came the befallen, or the fallen angels, or the dark forces, or something that tried to stop this from connecting, and for us connecting to each other and separating from one another and hating each other, or whatever you want to call it, right? And then what happens is we find ourselves, and then we come back together again with love. So how many of you out there are in the mood for love? So that's what I'm going to play. It's called I'm in the Mood for Love by Lord Tanamo. Wait. Let me make sure I stop this from playing so it doesn't play you listening to me. Okay. This is Scap. I'm in the mood for love. Everything, yeah.
the stars go under, hold me down in wonder. I'm in the mood for love. What are the things of weather? If you dream my friend, put our hearts together. Now we are one. I'm not afraid. Look at the cloud above. It's a rain relay. Over the night, oh yes. I'm in the mood for love. What are the things of weather? It's a dream, my friend. People are together. Now we are one. I'm not afraid. There's a cloud above. If it's a dream, we let it. Over the night, forget it. I'm in the mood for love.
And that's I'm in the mood for love. You see that? Makes you want to get up and dance and move the body, move the energy, right? Oh, but we're gonna plan a party. That's all I know. I see it. I can feel it. My sun is in Aquarius. Someone was asking what sign am I? My sun is in Aquarius. My moon is in Pisces. My Venus is in Pisces. My Saturn is in Pisces. My Mercury is in Pisces. My North Node is in Taurus. My rising is in Taurus. I know when to go to the other side.
I wanted
to be my dainty self.
I
And I
wanted
know when to do. Huh?
I wanted to dance with you. My Gemini wanted to dance, but my Cap was like,
oh my goodness. Wow. It's awesome though. And you see, you feel different. You know, it's like when you do all that talking and all those words and stuff, it's like you're like, okay, all right, you're taking it in. And then when you listen to the music, it just lifts you right back up again. You see, you could feel when your body, your mind, and your soul starts to respond, you know, and that's why we created this, so we can shift energy and do things differently. You know what I mean? And when you do both at the same time, like when you're moving through emotions, and then you are also in like doing things from a physical space, and you're bringing in all that balance, that's what brings in that self-mastery, you know, brings in that element of self-mastery, being able to integrate all of it together, that even if you are strong and weak at the same time, it's good. That's good. That's good. So we're all winners and losers.
the Leos are like, I'm not a loser. I don't. All the fire signs are like, I'm a loser. It's not me. I agree.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Yep.
Catch an L. That's
yep. So.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Y'all stay blessed as always. This is another great episode. And once again, like if you have suggestions for what we like us to talk next, comment down below.
Yes, comment below. Yes. Absolutely.
We will definitely discuss. I'm just loving the energy that's coming, like from talking, from connecting. It's like always, it's never a dull moment. It's never like I'm walking through a portal, just connecting with you. So.
Yeah, we are walking through a portal, and we're all creating a portal within each other. Because if you remember, even in Endgame, you remember when they kept opening all those portals, even during the course of the battle, And each time that they opened the portal, there was something new coming in, and then other things were leaving, new coming in, and other things were leaving, until when finally, when Iron Man got the, the glove, and then it sent off the disappearance of the dark side, you see? And so again, the two people, I never like watching the scene with Black Widow because I love Black Widow. She's a badass. I love her. And she's so brave, you know what I mean? And she didn't have those elemental powers like, Captain Marvel and stuff, but she still had her own fiery, gutsy, you know what I mean?
She brought the team together.
Huh?
She brought the team together when everyone
She brought the team together. Yeah, that's right. Natasha. So, again, the embodiment of both, it's bringing on a different element of magic. And that in all reality, we don't die. It may appear as if we do. It's just that we're in an altered reality, and we're in another reality in another dimension as we're doing this right now. And we're integrating more codes. We really are. And who knows what comes next? But it's not bad. It's for the greatest and the highest best for all of us, So I give thanks to Mother Earth, and I give thanks to all of the, the cosmic energies that's facilitating us, and anything else that's coming onto your path. We just look through it, and we don't have to get the swords anymore. You see what I'm saying? All we need to do is just remember ourselves. Every time you remember yourself, someone else gets mad, right? You know that, right? So you just tell.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Every time you know more about yourself, it never fails that the opposite comes and like tries to bring it down or tell you, no, don't do that and stop it, or, something to that effect. But again, it's about how much more are you in your knowing, and knowing that truth and embodying it, because we're now embodying the truth. We're embodying our true selves. And it may seem fearful, and that's a part of the process, to be a little bit fearful, to the point where you're not in fear anymore. You're just like a magical wizard. Yeah, that's it.
Magical wizardry.
Magical wizard. Because see, Miss Kiki magically got herself to Nevada.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been on a bit of a US trip, so it's been awesome.
I know it had to have been awesome. You're integrating some codes in the States too as well, my dear.
No, this came from Mount Shasta, so definitely.
Oh, I that must have been awesome.
Yeah, it really, really was. So I look forward to catching up with you about it.
Yeah. Bring it all the way from the land of down under.
Know it.
Wow. Well, this has been really awesome.
Yeah.
With you guys. Really is. And thank you for the surprise. That was a pleasant surprise. I would not, there was no, even if I tuned in, there was no way I could have figured out it was.
Oh my God. It was a surprise for all of us.
Yeah. Oh, you mean you were surprised too?
I thought I was just going to jump in at the end. So this was quite
good.
Oh.
You call this out unspoken. So we had
because you're smiling so much. I'm like, why is he smiling so much? Nah, you got to let me in on this. No. Yeah. I mean, and it's usually hard to surprise me too.
She's definitely gonna know even before like she sees me. So
wow.
All right, y'all. This
all right.
New Moon Grand Air Trine. Take it for what it is.
Yes.
And, until next time.
Peace.
Word.